Hey everyone, so in today's video is going to be the last one because we are going to be editing, mixing the whole nine for this project that I'm doing, my capstone project. It's been a long time coming really, and I'm excited to start working on this and just get it knocked out and listen to the end product because right now it's pretty bad. So what I'm going to do is that I am not going to worry about the vocals right now. I'm just going to mix the actual song itself, not the vocals. And then later on, I will mix the vocals in later. Because I really want to dial in this part here, just the main song. Don't worry about the vocals, because the vocals, it's an entire different story. And I'm really excited to start this and just try to finish it because this been one heck of a ride trying to figure out everything, and I'm just very itchy to start doing this. And while I'm editing this, there's going to be a time lapse, and then after I'm going to explain, and then there's going to be another time lapse for the vocals, which shouldn't take long. And then I'm going to explain what I did with the vocals. You're going to hear the end product, and then that's it. So let's get started.
Still as a breeze, a river flows.
Okay, so I am pretty much done with mixing, I guess you can say. I didn't really do much of anything really. It was only editing the bass here because I heard one of them was a little louder in one part because some of it was quiet for this entire thing and it just felt like it popped out a little bit more. The next thing I did was I fiddled around with the loops and I kept adjusting the slider on the volume and it kept jumping right back up, as you saw. And I found out, and I had a theory that when I did it, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think of it right now until I thought about it when I did it, was the fade we did at the end in last video right here. It basically has a set level and you cannot fool with the level because there's just a flat out line here. And you have to get rid of any and all dots that are on that volume line. So if you go here, and if you try to adjust the fader here, it won't work. And it goes right back to where it was, no matter what you do with the fader. You have to adjust this for it to work. That's the thing. So I did it with this once when I realized that you can't use the fader because this line was set at a certain point when I did this line, so I couldn't really adjust anything. So I went over here, whoops, wrong one, and I adjusted the level here of bringing it down to make it sound a little bit more level with this. The next thing I added was an EQ to the main beat here, and it's not a lot at all. So this is, let's solo this, and let's hear it with the boost and the bass a little. Okay, this is without it. It might not sound a big difference, but if I flick back to it on and off, you'll hear it. So this is on. I don't know if you can hear a difference. I can, because the bass is more prominent, and with everything, you'll hear it. It sounds pretty cool. With everything, I haven't edited the vocals, but with everything that's going on with this entire thing here, you can hear the bass drum kick out a little more. Well, I have to start on beat because of these loops being a little too stupid. For me, it's weird to describe, but and you're going to think I'm crazy, is that I literally feel it when I'm listening. I feel it right in my nose. So I guess you can say you're getting punched in the nose with a kick drum. But I feel it somewhat here, and I'm like, man, that's perfect. And without that little jump of EQ in the bass and the low frequencies, it's like plain. But you can also achieve that with somewhat of ducking, but this is not a song that you can duck with. I don't really think you need to, and it's pretty unnecessary. That's pretty much it with this stuff. With the lead keys, I put up the reverb just a little bit, and then I added volume, which is this thing, I guess. Because when I fooled around with this, it showed that it got louder, so I just pulled it up a little because this is already at 12. So it was recorded quiet. I know I can adjust the velocity of the MIDI nodes and the MIDI editor window, but I'm not about to do that because I just wanted to keep everything natural as possible. I didn't want to keep it all robotic and even on point, on time. At least it's on time with mistakes, because I don't want it being like robotic perfectly because if you go into this, you can see all these are not starting on, they're not starting perfectly. And that's just the natural cause of it. And I didn't want to make it sound robotic and whatnot. I wanted to make it sound natural, because the minute you add everything and quantize everything to the perfect, it's horrible. And just sounds pretty much MIDI, and people are going to say, what the heck are you doing? So I kept it like that. This was already boosted before. And then with labs within the Spitfire audio plugin, this was already set. I turned this one up a little, and I turned up the reverb just a little. And then the last thing I did was I made a band aux track, and I sent it out, every output, and it's not going through the master, it's going through the aux, and then the aux is going through the master. I added a WLM meter from Waves, and I'm going to match this up to whatever the streaming thing is. I think it's either -14 or 16, one of those two. I'll place the number somewhere on screen here, because it's set to -24. That is, I think, TV standard, and we're not doing this for TV. We're basically doing this for streaming. So I'm going to try to find the long-term LUFs of negative whatever it is. And then I put a limiter of -1, which isn't that bad. Just in case if anything peaks, it will compress it just a little bit. And then for a mastering technique, I placed a dither. I know you're supposed to do that, at the very end, but I wanted to do it now so that I can do it in the realm of, and everything is getting adjusted to the sort of quote-unquote mastering type deal. So next up is going to be doing my dad's vocals here, and you'll see what I'll do in the time lapse, and then after the time lapse I'll explain everything what I did with his vocals, and then I'll show you the final product, and that will be it. So let's get going with these vocals, and I don't think it will take as long as I guess it's supposed to, because I did comping, and that's really the only thing that really takes a long time. So let's get into this. Okay, so we are done editing his voice, my dad's voice. So here's what I did. There was an EQ already on the lead vocals here, because during comping I wanted to just hear how it sounded like with the frequencies, not too muddy, because in my closet and the microphone itself, my dad has like a very midi low range voice, and it was carrying, and it made it sound muddy. So I brought the low end down a little bit, brought the mids right here just a little bit high to keep the characteristics of the low end, and then I really boosted the high. So that's what I did for the EQ. I added compression here, so I think maybe 30, is that 35 or 36? Looks like a 36 to me, so 35-ish, I guess. Probably a 10 output. The release was right on 5, and I brought it down to 3. Let's mute this and mute this. So without, even the special sauce in the sends, this is what his voice sounds like. Let's solo it.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
And you can also hear the room tone in a way, sort of helping with the low end of his voice, like in the mid-range end. With a compressor or with a EQ, it sounds like this.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
So you still hear the frequencies of the low end, but it's not as in your face, and it's more of the high end. Also, when you get rid of certain unnecessary high ends, it makes more room for like a kick drum frequencies and a bass frequency, and that's exactly what happened here, which is pretty cool. So after that, I added compression, and you heard it without compression, so let's hear it again.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
And then with compression.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
So it basically boosted it up just a tiny bit. But with it being on attack number 5, or a release on number 5, this is what it sounded like.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
And to me, I don't know if anyone else can hear it, or maybe it just doesn't do a difference, but I heard that my ears were sort of straining. That's what I felt. Like my ears were straining and like turn it down type strain, but also like it felt like there was too much. That's what it felt like to me. Then I created some auxes, as I created a band aux. I think I mentioned that when I was mixing this. And then I did a reverb, echo, and vox aux. And with the WLM meter, I don't have to touch any of these things here or the sliders here. I can just adjust the band and vox. Let me place these together. I can just touch these two and to make it adjust to here. When I added reverb first. I did just the stock air reverb, and I kept it all the same, completely stock. I didn't touch any settings or whatnot, and it sounded pretty decent. And we can turn this on and click this. I brought it up to, I guess, negative 16.1. This is what it sounds like.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
And I was one of those people that did it, but usually you're not supposed to add a lot of reverb, because if you do that, I think that means you pretty much stink at singing, because reverb sort of makes you sound really good in covering up all those mistakes in singing and whatnot, and also autotune. But you don't need a lot of reverb. I really want reverb to be noticed at the tail end of when he's not singing. So just that little tail of the reverb. So if you listen closely to everything here, you barely notice it in the mix, but when it gets to the end, you'll hear it.
Let me be true.
It's off.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
So anything that has any pops and more of a like a very abrupt pronunciation. So you'll hear it, but anything else other than that, you won't.
Let me be true.
That was one of them. That's for reverb. And then when I was listening to this, I was like, maybe I can add some echo. And I wanted to add echo because I feel like this has a really good echo for it to become left and right, as in the echo coming left and right, left and right. I created a echo. I did echo reverb. It's not supposed to be that. It's called Echo Vox or Echo Aux. It's supposed to be called Echo Aux. So I went down here to Echo Aux, or I created a Echo Aux channel, and I added the Air multi-delay. And it can be called delay echo. I guess it's the same thing. So I grabbed one of the settings here called stereo offs. And if you listen to this is where it's at. There's not a lot of it because you don't want it you freaking out from left and right going, let me be true, you know? So I did it. I was adjusting it as you saw in the time lapse as you saw, and I found this sweet spot here. So if you listen to it, it's not as pungent, but sometimes at the very ends of phrases, you hear it tit for tat back at left and right. So listen.
Let me be true to you. Let me be real.
So I just heard it on the right side, just ever so slightly. It just gives that little tiny salt with that guy, whoever does it. One of it, it's really prominent. I think it's right here in the bridge part.
I then started to play the same game that you wanted.
You barely heard it, but it happened in the right and somewhat in the left. I didn't want it too much for it to be horrible. So I think I placed it right here because I wanted it to sound sort of similar to The Night Shift from Lionel Richie. So Marvin. I wanted it like that, but just not too much. And I think I had it somewhat like right here-ish. So let's listen to it.
I then started to play the same game that you wanted.
You barely heard it, but I didn't want it too much. Like, this is stupid right here.
I then started to play the same game that you wanted.
I didn't want it like that. So I placed it, I think, let me just do Command C. Place it right back where it was. I was very surprised because usually with my sister singing, I do have to do some kind of volume automation to the tracks, but honestly, these were very consistent, as you can see. When it got to the end, sometimes here it was quiet, when I guess it's supposed to be, but pretty much everything is really consistent across the board. If you see some of it, it's a little louder, but it doesn't really affect it. This is really the only highest part at the end. Let it be me. That's really the only part that's the loudest, and it's supposed to be, because I mean, you're singing higher, you know. And then another thing is that I want to set the levels, as I said before, with these aux tracks, is to look up the WLM meter for like streaming services, YouTube probably, because that's where I'm probably going to post it on YouTube. So we can place it there, and maybe I'll look up some for YouTube. It might share something with like Spotify or iTunes or Pandora, something like that, and I can just match it up with the loves. And that would be on just my own time. I'm not going to show that because that literally takes so long. You can literally spend hours on it, and if you get it like perfect, it will fluctuate at one point, and it's really annoying. So I'll probably spend maybe a couple hours to maybe even 2 days working on it, depending if I can get it on it. But I remember when I started using this, I think it was my beginning when I started college when I used this. It was horrible because it kept going all over the place, and I'm like, I don't like this. So I got used to it. It's a little bit more easier. It's not as finicky as I thought it was. As you get used to it, it's still a pain in the butt, but it gets the job done. So for right now, you're going to listen to this entirely, and it might change with volume wise, but that's pretty much it with loudness. And in the next video, you're just going to hear this specifically, like just him in a video, and then that will be it for this. So let's listen to this and wrap it up.
Let me be true to you, let me be real. Show me the way to love, help me to see. For when it comes to love, I know not a thing. I run for my life when you give me a kiss. Let me be true to you, and let me be real. I'm a loner as far as I can tell. Can you see it? I walk like if I had a spell. Can you break it? For when it comes to love, I know not a thing. I can't even think when you get close to me. Let me be true to you, and let me be real. No matter how far I go, I'll always come back. I felt like I had to go, but I stood right here. For when it comes to love, I know not a thing. I run for the door when you get close to me. Let me be true to you, and let me be real. Then the feelings began to all change, and you noticed. I then started to play the same game that you wanted. Now when it comes to love, I know quite a bit. I don't even run, I just wait for that kiss. Let me be true to you, and let me be me. I wanted to be with you and nobody else. I never had love before. Help me be strong. 'Cause when it comes to love, I know quite a bit. I don't even run, I just wait for that kiss. Let me be true to you. It will be only you. Let me be true to you, and let it be me.
And that will be it. Set aside from a few things that things will change with volume wise and maybe just a touch of mixing and whatnot. That will somewhat change throughout this process of me trying to figure out the LUFS and using the WLM meter. But that is pretty much the final cut of everything and basically how it is going to sound, and give or take a few things that might change with volume and whatnot. I really enjoyed making this song come to life, I guess, and recreating it. This took a few weeks to do, and just figuring out a game plan and figuring out what I'm doing. But me and my dad worked on this very hard, and every time he got out of work, we worked on it, and I sometimes had to borrow him from work because he works from home for me to figure this out, because I worked on it when he was at work, and then he came in here when he was done with work to help me, and we got it knocked out within a few weeks. I hope you enjoyed these very long videos. I hope it didn't bore you with everything. I try to make it a little bit more entertaining with music and whatnot, and some animations, some text here to make it funny and whatnot, trying to make it not sound like I'm a monotone voice talking in a lecture and just being boring, talking about Pro Tools, how I mixed everything, that type. I don't want to make it like that. Just trying to make it fun. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this series in general, and I think that's it. So this is the Techman signing off. See you later, guys. And P.S. the next video is going to be the complete song of this. So look forward to that in the next video. See you later, guys.